Yes, good afternoon, everyone, or good morning, depending on where you are. Previously, I did a very short teaser on an app I was building, a Xamarin app, I should say, or Xamarin.Forms app, if I want to fully qualify, using Azure Mobile Services. It's a prototype I'm building for Planet Technologies. And in essence, what it is an app that allows individuals and also the sponsor, in this case, Plant Technology. In the case of the participants, then they can download this app and they can use this app to enter for drawings at different conferences or different shows where Planet or anybody basically could be at. And it walks them through the idea to see all of the things that are there, different drawings for different times, and allows them to log on using their social identity and enter these drawings. And at a certain point in time, the sponsor will hold a drawing, and then they will be notified if they win via push notification or email or text messages. So the backbone of this app, as I mentioned, is done through Azure Mobile Services. Won't get too much into that, but what I'll show you as we walk through this in very short term is, for now, it is being set up to use Twitter. As you can see, I have my consumer key and my consumer secret part of it, that is, and I have my token and secret again there. What I have, or how the service works, I have a couple entities. One for participant, which is the person who is going to be um, entering this contest. One for giveaways, which are all the items that are going to be as a part of the contest. And the entries, this is basically an entry of the participant for a specific item. I have a couple controllers, and I want to call your attention to two of them. Let's just look at the basic giveaway controller. As you can see, leverages Azure Mobile Services. But what I want to show you here is the absence of what you'll see here inside the entry. So I want to allow people to, without any, cause or with any hindrance, to see anything that's there. However, should they decide to enter for a contest, you'll see I have an author using the security of Azure Mobile Services. I'm setting an authentication level of user and setting the entire class to authorize so that as they enter or manipulate anything inside here, you need to first log on. What else is there to talk about inside here? Yeah, just a couple of the housekeeping stuff. By default, I seed a couple of items inside the uh, the giveaway table so that I can at least have something to work with. As you can see, just run through it really quickly. We have GUIDs as the ID, some asset tags, which is basically going to be the unique identifier, our short unique identifier for us to use. Some description of information, the short name, a larger description, the event that you're at, and the date and time that this entry is going to be given away. And this date and time is used to push down information to the user to show available, to show the end of a contest, and also if somebody doesn't claim it, there's going to be a job running to see inside the inside another entity on the admin side whether or not it needs to draw for somebody else. Also has the person who's the official giving it away, their name, and it also has a link to the items that are going to be given away. So we're not storing it locally, we're pulling that out of the cloud. Um, the model is basically a simple model. It's just basically the DB set to all of the items that are there, and setting up annotation um, attributes on the table to provide the unique ID because we're using Entity Framework. So that's it for that piece. Let's actually take a look at a couple of items. So if we look at the giveaways here, let's just run this guy here. Okay, oh yeah, that's wrong. It should be P. Run this guy here. See, we have these 5 items as I mentioned before. Again, running through the items, you see exactly what I showed you before. All right. We're going to look at the participants, and I want to show you something really quickly here. That's one person is already there, which is myself. ID again, so when I call against my Twitter API and I get back two things, which is going to be my ID in Twitter, and it's also going to be it's going to give me back a token, and that token is going to be what takes me through the entire process of now the app knowing who I am. So we're not storing the token, but we definitely want to store the ID, because once we persist that user and they come back in, we don't want to keep asking them. We just want to say, "Yep, you're there. Keep moving forward." When you log in for the first time, however, it's gonna ask you for your name and email address, your mobile phone, and it's gonna ask you a couple survey questions. Obviously, if if sponsors are asking for giving away stuff, they're gonna want some information from you, just to figure out who you are, what their base is, and some way to measure that. So for me, I'm asking, are you an IT pro, are you a developer, a business analyst, or other? You can of course ask as much as you want. In the entries right now, I already tested this, so we should expect to find one item inside here. So you can see that I'm entered for a short tag item of this. This is a short name. So this very short table is just the entry and what that entry looks like. So let's come back over here and take a look at what we have. So as this is a Xamarin.Forms app, it has, and if you're doing this on the Windows side, you get four projects. You get the shared project, which is going to be this, and then you're going to get three platform specific projects, which is going to be Android, iOS, and Windows Phone. I did this on the Mac side, and the Mac side is only going to give me Android and iOS because it doesn't understand the Windows side phone of it, obviously. But nothing stopping you from going over there and adding a new project to this and getting that running. So when you create a Azure Mobile Services project initially, you're going to have what is like your app.cs file. This one is just going to give you the name of the project itself, but it's basically the app.cs. And as you can see inside here, by default, it's going to try and create a content page in here and then load this up. I get rid of that because I create my own pages, and I just call that page using the navigation page and providing as a argument or parameter the page that I want. This I was using this initially, because this is the new way that Forms is working, but I have found that because I need to also get the authentication page for Twitter to load, that this gave me a problem, something about not being able to do it except in iPad. So I had to go back to another way by modifying a couple of items, which we'll talk about a little bit later in the app delegate, and in the main app delegate in iOS and the main activity inside Android to make that work. So in fact, let's talk about that now. So if we go to the app delegate, what you're seeing here is making the calls to Azure Mobile Services and SQLite. But moreover, what I'm doing is I'm taking away what was there previously and creating my own UI view controller, because when you're doing a push to do the the authentication piece inside Azure Mobile Services, the parameter it expects is a UI view controller and the provider name, so it can know what page to go to. So I had to create my own UI view controller. If there's not a better way, I just don't know what it is as yet. But by creating my own, I had to do it this way. And in the main activity, same thing over there again. So in my UI context loads that view controller, and you'll notice when I'm doing it, I call UI context as well to launch that page. So same thing here as well. With that done, let's just get rid of that. Let's get rid of that so we can, I know what I've covered already. So basic MVC or MVVM pattern, I have a bunch of views here. It starts off, it's called the home view as you saw before, and inside the home view, you have you're going to see an image being launched, and you're going to see a couple buttons. In fact, before we get to code, let's just run it through first on the iOS side, and then we'll look at it, so get to give you that visual feel before we dive into the code, so you can make the reference. So here's my splash screen with that image. Once I click on this image here, it goes out to Azure Mobile Services and get all of these items. These are the 5 items you saw before. Now, a couple of things is that on the iOS side, which I'm going to log in, and in fact, I'm going to have to pause this a little bit because this is an app, it shows my password. So first thing I'm going to do is click on this first, so you can see that I'm entering for this Surface Pro that William Beer is going to be giving away at Ignite. hint, hint, William Bear. And I'm going to click on this here. It's going to ask me to authenticate. I'm going to put part of this first. So I'm going to do a user that is not in the system. So it's going to be, I'll tell you what, let me just pause it first before I do that. Pause record. So we've come back from the pause, and I'm going to sign in now with a tester account. Notice it has, all of the information here. In fact, I should, we'll talk about that later in the real session. So now that I'm logged in, it says, okay, you've been authenticated through Twitter with a unique ID of XYZ. And what I'm going to do later on is I'm going to come inside here and ask you those polling questions, and then I'm going to add you, and then you're going to enter the drawing. I'm going to back out now, though, and I am going to stop the simulator real quickly, and I'm going to log back in as myself because I know I'm there. So we already saw that we were entered over here for a Surface Pro 3. So I'm going to do somebody else now. So let me come. Where's the simulator? I'm going to stop. I thought I stopped it. Okay. All right. Stop. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and click this guy again. And this time I'm going to log in as myself, and then I am going to you're going to see it automatically knows who I am, so it's going to enter me directly. So I'm going to do this time the Swiss backpack. So I'm going to click on this here. I'm going to go ahead and pause this again. Okay, now that we've unpaused it, I'm going to go ahead and sign in as me. And as you see here, tells me now my Twitter ID, Fabian G. Williams, thank you for your entry. You've been entered to win, blah, blah, blah. Should be contacted, yeah, yeah, yeah. We come over here. As you can see that inside, this is coming from, this is before as participants, just show you how we got to here. So execute again, so the same guy here. But if we go on to G entries before, and now you should see two items inside here. Select all from, yep, G entries. Now we have the Swiss Gear backpack. So as you can see, it now entered me to win for that. And, it has my timestamps and everything there already. So now that that's done, you can see it working there on this side. Let's go ahead and quit the simulator and walk through a little bit, just a very little bit of the code. So we already took a look at some of this here already. We have the image, we have a button that you click to enter, and then I'm messing around with layouts to get this to work. This is what I came up with just to show that properly, but I'm sure that can be probably done better as well. But in the end here, in the click, it goes to show prizes. So if we go to show prizes now, in show prizes, you can see here where call into a couple of these services up here. In fact, I'll show you a couple of those services. So the first service here is the giveaway service, and in the giveaway service up top here has a couple of information I'm trying to hide, which is my key and mobile service user. But as you can see here, it's creating a local database on your storage, so it can you can sync it afterwards to your local storage. We're defining a table called giveaway, which shows you all of the items inside there. We in our sync async, we're initializing everything for Azure Mobile Services, making our connection and everything, and then we're doing a push async, to marry everything up, and then we're calling everything from the table, which our giveaway table is making a connection here to what's inside Azure here. So from Evermore, we're pulling from that. And then if you search for the top, I have a search method that you can search for items in case it gets too long. And then in the end, what we're doing is we're searching for items inside here. I should have renamed that. I've used this before in another example, where we're looking for a giveaway item is greater than today. So all things are not going to show up. And once you've done that, it would and you click on it, so there's a click event in here somewhere. The click event sends you to, where is my click event? No, it's not inside here, right? So this actually just gets to the items back. So if you come back over to the oops, go away. If you come back over to showprizes.cs, which is right here, then inside here, once you click on the item now, then we have another event which sends you to the price detail, which you saw before. So in the price detail, and these warnings are because I'm using, a couple of these are because I'm using the font class, which is Upstate. We have it telling you, these are the items, so on and so forth. And then we have a join button which says win at this, and then you click on that, and that's what the button says. And inside here, a couple things are happening, right? So we're saying first is going to go out, and what you have is the sync async. Is it sync async? There's an authentication method in here somewhere which I just can't find right now. But it authenticates you, and then that's when it sends you to Twitter and comes back. If it if it's in fact, I think it's over here. So inside G entry service or giveaway service or giveaway service. There it is right here inside the initialize async. All right. Yep. Yep. Checking to see if it's authenticated. It's buried in here somewhere. We'll figure it out another time. I'll show you that. I don't want to make this too long. But suffice to say, we are checking to see if he comes back. This might not see us, right? Yeah. Further down, right? Yeah. Prize detail, sorry, prize detail. Yeah. So we're checking to see if someone comes back from Twitter as a legitimate person, right? And then if it's legitimate, then we actually are now going to see we're making a call to the contestant table to find out if somebody more than one comes back. I know there's probably a better way to doing this, but if it's greater than zero, it means it found somebody. And then we're now creating a current participant with that person, put them inside a list, and then we are also providing that we found that person, that is, entering the person into a drawing. So we have a MyTix entry, and we're grabbing the social ID, we're grabbing the asset tag and the shortening. And by calling this insert entry async with this item, it adds them into the drawing, and then also which is what that does. And then after it does that, then we actually call the other page, which adds them and say, hey, you've been entered, so on and so forth. If we add them but we can't find them in the contestant table, it opens up the participant add, which says, hey, you've been authenticated, we have this is your ID, fill out this information. So if you look at those pages, the contest entry add, this is if it finds you and it enters you. Just a really simple page. It could be a lot prettier. As you can see here, that's what it says here. And in the participant add, this is just telling you, hey, we found you, but fill out this information, and we're going to backfill it a little bit more. So that's what it looks like inside the shared service. And you can see a bunch of the logic is inside there. On this side here, not too much. There's not hardly anything besides those modifications you make for platform specific stuff. But we're going to go ahead and switch this to the startup project. And as I mentioned before, and a couple nuances as well, because when I use the emulator, if I use an ID, a Twitter ID, and I tell it even not to remember me, it still remembers me. So I'm actually going to come inside here and use the Nexus 7 one that I have. And I should have started this before because these emulators take forever to start up. So, while I'm at this, I'll tell you the difference. So the iOS uses a simulator, which is more software inclined and loads faster. The Android uses an emulator, which is almost like using the device itself. So the picture is not there, as I mentioned before, because that's a little bug I need to work out. Comes back, it makes a call. I'm going to click on the wireless headphones this time. I'm going to say win a wireless headphone here. Pops up this right here. And I'm going to say, I need to pause it. I'm going to go ahead and pause the recording. So now that we're back from the pause, you can see all of this information here. I'm going to click sign in. And I expect it to tell me, hey, we've got you, but you're not here. Add me, please. It's just going to ask you a bunch of those questions, and then you're going to add. All right. Well, we're not going to do that. We're going to quit the Android player here for a minute, and we are going to come back in as me, and we're going to see it work there as well. So let's come here now, and for that one, we'll use the other one that we have here. So spin this guy up. And why am I doing this video? It also is going to help me with my timing for a session I'm giving at the SharePoint Evolution Conference on Azure Mobile Services. So if it takes me this long to do this much in terms of demoing this to you, I know how much to subtract from my other session in terms of my demos and stuff like that. So helps you and it helps me. So it comes here, we're going to do enter join here. I'm going to go ahead and do the SSD this time. I'm going to say win. It's going to authenticate. I'm going to go ahead and pause again and enter myself inside here this time. So pause. Okay, now that we've resumed, I'm going to go ahead now and move this up and say sign in. This is what I said before. It never did before. I want to say never. Actually, let me just say never. I don't know what that'll do later on though. But as you can see here, it found me and I'm entered. And come over here. What did we do a while ago? I can't remember. But now we should actually see 3 items inside here. So we do this. We do that. Now we have our third item. It was the SSD. So in a nutshell, that is what Azure Mobile Services does for you. There's much more we can talk about. I even avoided even the conversation about how to set up Azure Mobile Services. But we will definitely get into that when I do my session, or I may do a very good detailed blog post on that. So thank you very much. Just go ahead and stop.